So if this reaches you in your neck of the woods where it is still summertime, you got your flip-flops rocking and it's still beach, mountains, picnics, whatever the heck it is, and you're looking for something good to read, I encourage you to check out Peace, Love, and Goodness, Lessons from the Drug Lady, or A Higher Level of Goodness, Lessons from the Drug Lady. You can find them both on Amazon. I wrote them. I'm hoping within the next few months shooting to have my third book out. And if you're like, it is no longer summer here, or kids are back to school, things as we know it are kind of resuming, and it's that lingering reality that pumpkin spice and fall are pretty much at our doorstep. Still not too late to check out some good reads, pre-fall reads. Check it out on Amazon.com. I encourage you to, and I know that you will dig them. So the other day, I'm walking through my house, I'm talking to my mom, kind of throwing out all the different things I have to do for the course of the day. I'm making my list. I'm kind of a virtual mental list doer, if you will. And I had a lot going on that day, as I have had really for the past few months. And my mom stopped me and said, "Air, you need to give yourself a break a little bit." And I was like, and she interrupted me, "You need to give yourself a break." And so the more I kind of thought about that, quite a bit actually, and thinking for so many of us, we need to give ourselves a break. We kind of can sometimes forget the reality, right? That seems pretty common sense, but it isn't. It's kind of in the moment that we are human, and we can have expectations on ourselves that are simply unrealistic, that are setting ourselves up for just stress, letting ourselves down, letting people that we care about down. And so I kind of wanted to throw at you 7 ways that we can give ourselves a break, right? That can allow for a higher quality of living, and for us to just be reminded, yo, you are human. Yo, you can't do everything. And yo, dude, we are wired too tightly too often. And this may not apply to you that's listening, but I can tell you to so many people that this applies to, and we lose sight. And with that, we end up kind of in a frenzy sometimes. And how do we even get here? How the heck am I so stressed out? What's up? What's down? Hello. So I've got 7 ways rocking out here. And I think I am pretty confident can help 97.9% of us. So here we go with that. The first one I'm going to throw at you is screen time downtime. So we can kind of get wrapped up in our screen time and not even realize it, right? So it's kind of setting boundaries where there's no phone for a certain time before you go to bed and when you wake up in the morning, because here's the deal: when our minds are constantly spinning, our minds are constantly going, you could say, well, it doesn't really affect me, but it does, because our brains, our bodies, our eyes were not meant to be constantly fixed on something. And you could say, well, what does this mean about giving myself a break? Well, the thing is, if we, right before we go to bed, or right when we wake up in the morning, we're set at, oh my gosh, I'm reading this and this triggers me to think about what I should be doing, or that I forgot to do that, or it's adding something else to our mental list. It is absolutely affecting our sleep. It's affecting our quality of living. And so there's many, many benefits to our phones, right? To being able to hop on, get information. We're in the cyber world, but there's so many things that are absolutely connected to affecting our quality of life. And where it's putting these, further cementing these expectations of what we're supposed to be doing, who we're supposed to be, where we're supposed to be at, and it's just crazy train. And so again, it's like this hamster in the wheel kind of spiel, where like going, and I'm running, and I'm like not getting anywhere. And you're like, why am I so tired? Why am I so dehydrated? Dude, because we're just going, right? And I am part of this little group of goodness, right? Have the best of intentions, but like we're stressed. And so the screen time is a big one. Screen time is muy importante here. Being aware and setting boundaries, baby, right? Another one that I'm crazy trained working on in my own life is being should free. Well, what the heck does that mean? Well, the things, right? Okay, tell me if you hear me out on this one. We're like, oh man, I should have grabbed, I should have grabbed the milk at the grocery store and I forgot, right? Because we forgot, because we're human. I should have taken the clothes out of the washer. I should have finished that, paperwork with work, or I should have signed this thing and I forgot, right? And then we're in the zone of should, right? It's like should fest, 2019, and we're like, should, like, it's becoming should free. And instead, right, and this takes work and this takes practice. You know, there's a saying that I shared with my son, my gosh, I'm going to say a few weeks ago, because he was saying something like, you know, mommy, you know, we should have done this and but whatever, right? And he wasn't stressed out or anything. I said, you know, I talk a lot about my relatives. I think family is really, really important. And I've shared with him about my Uncle Meyer, who passed away a number of years ago, but who I have adored, who just was an amazing human being. His heart, his wisdom, his insight, and is my grandmother's brother. And I said, you know, there's a saying that Uncle Meyer used to say, and it is what it is what Uncle Meyer used to say. And I remember him saying that, you know, periodically, you know, as a kid. And I shared this with him the other day. You know, Jack had said, he goes, Mom, you know what? Because he forgot something at school. It is what it is. And I'm like, yes, dude, it is what it is. Think about that phrase. It is what it is. And you're like, what? It is what it is. There's certain things that we can't control. There's certain things that are just going to happen in life. And if we allow ourselves to go so wire tightly to just, I should have, dude, well, you didn't. It's now living in the present. And you know what? I'll grab the milk later. And it is what it is. And it's not letting our heads go to when are we going to get the milk later or whatever the heck it is, because this should mentality reinforces, right, us just not being good enough, of how we've dropped the ball, of how what else we need to do. And it's like, it's layering the stress levels that are crazy train. All right. I'm going to go in a different direction here with number 3. And you're going to be like, what? You know, for many of us, you know, we might be super, you know, hardcore about what we eat and knowledgeable and aware. And some of us were not. Well, I'm going to tell you, it absolutely correlates with our stress levels and us being tired and just kind of almost hard on ourselves when there just seems like there's not enough fuel in the tank to keep going emotionally and energy wise, is being aware of what we put in our bodies, what we eat, cutting back on sugars. And I am trying in my own life, cutting back on processed foods that just suck the energy out of us, right? That just kind of make us tired. And you might not even realize that it makes you tired, but it does. You know, our bodies, I do believe this, are temples. God has made us. You know, we were made with purpose, and to just kind of continually, it's like if you have a car, right? You drive up to the gas station, and instead of pumping, you know, the gas, you go and you get a Pepsi and you fill up the tank with a Pepsi. How far are you getting on that sucker? At some point, you're stalling out, right? And it's like with us, yeah, that our bodies, and we're not gonna be perfect, you know, you know, you have a half a bag of chips or you have cookies. What I'm saying is being aware, just being aware of what we put in our bodies. That has something to do with us being able to breathe a little bit easier, like literally and figuratively speaking, and just being aware of what we put in our bodies, right? Another one when it comes to our bodies, right, is sleep. Sometimes we can be crazy, unrealistic, where I got to do this, I didn't do this, I got to do this. And so what we end up doing is not sleeping enough, right? I'm going to bed at midnight and I have to wake up at 6:15. Yo, for many of us, right, we need 8 hours of sleep, 7 hours of sleep. If we're going, and this is where screen time is important, shutting that sucker down at some point, right? Like 15 minutes before you go to bed, 20 minutes, whatever is your realistic boundary, and letting our brains shut down, because we could be in bed, it doesn't mean we're asleep, right? And kind of coming up with habits and practices that work for us that can reinforce the length of time that we're sleeping. Yo, we need sleep, man. It's part of our fuel in life. We need sleep. We need adequate sleep. And if we're, you know, constantly in need of sleep, we're constantly tired, we're constantly drained. Yo, give yourself a break, man. You need some sleep. It's important for functioning, for a higher quality of life. You are a human being, okay? Hello, Fest. You are a human being. Humans, we need sleep. We need sleep to function, right? Not just to function, but be able to really enjoy life, because we deserve to enjoy life. We deserve to be living. We deserve, right? Hear me, repeat this a few times. We deserve it. You deserve sleep, man. And we can like just be weirdos sometimes, where we withhold things from us that we're, because I got to do. And I've been guilty of this, man, right? And what? you need sleep. Some things just need to be put on hold and will get done. And if they don't get done, it's reprioritizing things, right? Chill. Yo, we really stink at chilling sometimes. And realizing that it's not a gift. Like sleep isn't a gift, right? It's a requirement. We need it. It's not I want to sleep. All right, well, you need sleep. So you need to sleep. Sleeping. So sleeping a little later if needed, going to bed a little earlier, whatever is in the realm of your needs, do it. Boom, make it happen. Another one, big time, okay, in terms of giving yourself a break, that you are human, setting boundaries, all right? This is number 5. Number 5, you are incapable of doing everything. And when we think we can, or we want others to think that we can, people get disappointed. We let ourselves down, right? We can't do everything. We need to set boundaries because it's super important. And sometimes we can kind of get into the cycle, right, where we're just overshooting ourselves. It's too much without even really intending to do it, right? We take on things, we can kind of layer, it's like one of my son's favorite books that we picked up in Nepal was called Yak and Knack, right? And it's the story of these yaks that are going up a hill and they're kind of like dissatisfied with what they're doing and their purpose. And if you want, it's like that they're just loaded with things, some things that are necessity and some things that aren't, right? So here's the deal with us. We can kind of be like yaks sometimes, like things are just thrown on, or we throw them on our backs. We're thrown on, it's another layer, it's another 5 pounds of this, it's another 10 pounds. I've got to do this, but do you really have to do this? Right? It's allowing ourselves to set boundaries, and that will come in the form of relationships, of duties, of responsibilities, and it's learning the definitions between what we are supposed to be doing and what we think we're supposed to be doing. And that's a big one. And that could take us time to progress and get to that realization. But setting boundaries are crazy important and necessary in order for us to be healthy. Right? And that means sometimes people are going to be let down. That might be a shock for some people, this adjustment of like, whoa, this person's setting boundaries, and now transitioning to number 6 goes to saying no. With setting boundaries, it's times of saying no to things. We cannot be yes, yes, yes all the time. And that's not letting people down, but saying, I'm incapable of doing this, right? There's just not enough time in the day. That just doesn't fit in the mold of where my priorities have to be right now. And that is what it, again, Uncle Meyer, shout out, it is what it is, right? It's realigning our priorities a little bit, because you can't do everything. And some of us, you might be listening, like I've done everything for so long and this is what people expect. Well, it might be a little bit of a shocker to them. Give them a heads up. This is what's going down in the kitchen, and we're going from here. I can't do everything, because when we try to, we're spinning those wheels. We're that hamster again. We get deflated. We get tired, and it's like, well, I can do it. Yo, you got your cape, you got your goggles. You're not a superhero. You're a super person, right? You can't do everything, and it's that reminder of I'm giving myself a break, and I'm human. Because we can get this momentum behind us. I'm doing everything and and like I can't say no to this person. Well, what if I let them down? I have to do this. Well, taking a step back, do you really have to do it? Do you? Or can it be held off to a later date? Or is it even necessary? And it's thinking these thoughts of like, what is a necessity and what is something that's an option? Rephrasing how we look at things, because boundaries are crazy train important. Crazy train important. Okay, so here is the last one that is a big one and important. Chill, my friends. Take time for you. Take time for you. This is not selfish. It's not selfish, right? This is something that should not be an option, because here's the deal. This time, this chill time, whatever that looks like, whatever the time capacity is for that, it just reinforces your humanity. You're human. All of us need downtime. If we're at 172,000 miles an hour every day, at some point we're going to get a flat tire. At some time the engine is going to blow. We cannot keep going at max capacity. We can't. And we as human beings deserve to chill, a rama. If we're tightly wired all the time, we're kind of doomed for something negative, whether that's having an anxiety attack, whether it's just I am so tired, I literally can't lift the spoon up to stir my coffee, right? Well, something's wrong, dude. Something's wrong. If we're that tired and we're that exhausted, we're that on edge with stress and anxiety, right? And being on the edge constantly, it's exhausting. It is exhausting. It's exhausting. So it's taking time to chill. It's taking time for yourself, right? And that's a beautiful thing. So I'm going to go over these again. Wrapping this up is 7 things, right, for us to give ourselves a break. Bringing down the screen time. Okay, should free is the way to be. Being careful and observant and aware of what foods and drink we put into our bodies. Sleep, getting on the sleep train, right? Increasing that. Setting boundaries is number 5. Saying no. And the last one, big one, is chilling, right? Learning how to chill a little bit more, because that is a necessity, not something that is optional. So I hope you grab something from these 7 things. I think all of us can. So many of us can just be hard on ourselves, and we need to breathe. And it's allowing ourselves to give ourselves a break. Take a deep breath and remind ourselves we are human beings, right? You're gonna screw up sometimes. You're gonna hit bumps. You're gonna fumble. And my friends, you can't do everything. We can't do everything. And that's not our intention or what we are created for. We're not to do everything. And when we try to do everything again, we lose out on beautiful moments because we're distracted on other things. We lose out on those little times that are really special with the people that we love, those moments, those experiences that we're just, we're fixated on things that we think are important, and we lose out on a moment that can't be replicated. Life is really fleeting. Life is short. There are moments that are precious that may we cling to, may we seek after what our real priorities are. And may we just allow ourselves to take a deep breath and say, I'm human, and I'm going to give myself a break. I hope you have a wonderful day, my friends. Wishing you all the peace, love, and goodness.